Imagine being an atheist, they said. No more getting up early on Sunday mornings, no more singing songs of worship, no more indoctrinating children into your beliefs, and no more organized religion, they said. And to that, the church-going atheist says, don't talk that way about my church. Keep your beliefs out of our church. Don't like churches? Don't have one. Frank Turek wrote a book years ago called Stealing from God, where he talked about how atheists need to borrow from the Christian worldview in order to make their case against God. But this church says, you think it's amazing that atheists can steal morality and human value from Christianity? Watch this. Hold my beer. I came across these atheists the other day in a video that was released a while back called The Godless Church and Atheists Taking the US by Storm. Now, given that I haven't heard of these churches until now means that they either failed to live up to the title of the video or they have a really bad marketing team. But that aside, in the video we learn about atheists who are creating godless churches all around the world. Let's take a look and see what all the chatter is about. And if this is your first time here, go ahead and hit that sub button and meme team. You guys ready? Then let's go!
Today, the Sunday Assembly, or as it's better known, the Atheist Church, is launching 35 new services in cities across the world. There's ones in New Zealand, Hungary, France, the UK, and 16 here in the US. So I'm here at the one in Strongsville, Ohio, just outside Cleveland, and we're going to see what it's all about.
Nature's way of receiving you. It's nature's way of retrieving you. It's nature's way of telling you something's wrong. It's nature's way of receiving you. It's nature's way of retrieving you. It's nature's way of telling you something's wrong.
Well, at least the music is better than at church, right? Right? Am I right? So here's the thing. In church, Christians sing songs about God, praising Him, talking about what He's done, and giving Him thanks for it. So what do these worshiping atheists do? Well, apparently they replace the name God with nature and treat nature as if it were a person. They sing about how nature receives you and how nature tells you when something's wrong. It's almost as if they were trying to prove the Bible was right in Romans 1:25 all along. But never mind that. Let's keep going.
What's your background? Were you raised in a religious family? Did you go to church?
I think I was saved twice, so it obviously didn't take.
You were saved twice?
Yeah, recently I've just been debaptized, so I have the actual certificate to show that I've been debaptized.
How'd you get debaptized?
Okay, so let me get this straight. When this guy was baptized, he believed that it did something. But now that he no longer believes that it did something, he gets debaptized as if it reverses the thing that he did that he believed didn't do anything in the first place. I mean, I get that he wants to make a public declaration of not being religious, but you catch my drift.
The central idea we need to spread is that we have only one life, which means that that life has to be lived to the fullest. There is no second chance, no opportunity to have a do-over. There is no afterlife in which wrongs are righted and cosmic justice meted out to the evildoers.
I love how this guy is stating all of the awful things that depresses people about atheism and lead them into nihilism, and he gets a bunch of half smiles from his congregants. That's great. There's no second chances, no afterlife, no justice. This is encouraging.
The Sunday Assembly was started by two British comedians, Sanderson Jones and Pippa Evans.
Wait, did they just say that this atheist church movement was started by British comedians, while at the same time expecting that we take it seriously? And people want to get mad at me for thinking that this stuff is a joke? Isn't that the original intent? So now atheists no longer just rely on British comedians for all of the obnoxious cliches that Christians have to hear in virtually any religious discussion involving atheists online. And not only do atheists rely on British comedians as the main source of theology and their understanding of Christianity as a whole, but now even atheist churches are the result of British comedians. You're doing it wrong, Britain. You're doing it wrong.
They held the first event in London in January 2013. After that, Jones and Evans found that people were getting in touch, asking if they could set up their own Sunday assembly. What is it like being a now quite prominent atheist and organising something like this? Do you get any pushback from people who are religious that you know?
I do have several close friends who are religious. One of my best friends from high school, she is a pastor. I actually turned to my pastor friend to ask her, how do we start a church? And she gave me reams of advice, lots of great ideas.
So your pastor friend gave you advice on how to start a godless church?
Exactly, yes.
Every one of you has a story that's brought you here today. Something brought you here to this point in this particular amazing location. And I really like this. I mean, it's almost like a church. Almost.
Yeah.
How did you become an atheist, or were you raised an atheist?
Religion does a lot of things well. What they do not so well is inculcate hate, intolerance, and all sorts of things that are anti-human. So this brings the best and leaves the worst out.
Right. Okay, so let's go ahead and assume that hate and intolerance is a purely religious thing and not just a human thing, even though it is, which is another thing that the Bible got right. But leaving that aside, if we were to say that religion is the cause, then we would expect for the atheist to be a shining counterexample of hate and intolerance and to be full of love, right? Right?
It's no wonder you're a f***ing Christian community, you dumb motherfucker.
What is your background then? Were you raised with a sort of religious aspect or anything like that in your life?
I was raised like by militant atheists, and I feel like there's like a lot of people suffering and screaming, and who are their lives basically suck because religion is keeping them down.
So let me get this straight. She was raised by militant atheists. Militant atheists, the same people who are against children being indoctrinated into their parents' beliefs, right? Okay, just wanted to make sure. Not to mention how often we hear slogans like, well, if you were born in America, you wouldn't even be a Christian, as if that invalidates the Christian's beliefs. Well, Miss Atheist, if you weren't born in a militant atheist household, then you would be a Christian.
All right, how you feeling? You feel the tingles? All right. Oh. So, okay, all right, you can put your arms down now.
Yeah.
So, all right.
So now they're raising their hands to feel something.
So how important is what's happening today? You know, in the US, there's 16 of these assemblies launching today. There's already some that exist.
Right.
It seems to be a growing movement. How important is this kind of thing in perhaps trying to win back some of that territory from religious people?
I mean, you got to hand it to religion. Like churches and so on, they provide a sense of community. They provide a sense of belonging to people. And so it does serve that social purpose, which I think what the Sunday assemblies are trying to do. They provide an institutional framework whereby people feel a sense of community.
And lastly, they show another clip of their tagline printed on t-shirts. It says, live better, help often, wonder more. All three of those things are things that religion statistically and objectively does better than atheism, and by a long shot. But the point here is, it's no wonder that they want something like church and organized religion. As much as they despise it, studies are virtually unanimous that these things make people have happier and healthier lives. Atheists who are in denial about these facts will usually quote from one study, which has a ton of problems, but leaving that aside, they quote it while ignoring all of the other mountains of research that goes in the other direction, confirming the psychological benefits of religion. I'm starting to believe more and more that atheists just don't like facts. Now, for all intents and purposes, I assume that some of the atheists who promote these churches are aware of the data and research and attempting to recreate that kind of community and environment for atheists. So I guess that leaves us with the question of, are atheists still in church in order to make their lives better? Let me know what you think down below. And the next time that you find yourself getting invited to a godless church, what are you going to say? Well, if you're like me, the first thing that you're probably going to say is, wow, I had no idea that your church even existed in the first place. Wait, why do you go to church as an atheist? And then you can also say,
What do you mean?
Shout to the void, all the earth let us sing. Power and majesty, praise to nothing. What do you sing to?